Hi everyone, my name is Shahir Moktazar, and you're joining us for another episode of Fireside Chat, the Sinar Daily show that dives into current issues through exclusive interviews. So for today's episode, we'll be talking about top in tech innovations. With the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which had shown paramount growth in the tech industry globally, we're going to dive into what our two guests think about the progress of the technology industry in our country, Malaysia, and maybe how the country can pave the way for more innovative Malaysians in the future. So, with me, I have two very credible journalists, very I will not say. I don't want to say the word veteran. Okay. I will. I will not. Good looking. Good looking. We have Malaysiakini co-founder Premesh Chandran. Hi, welcome. And Digital News Asia Chief Executive Officer Karamjit Singh. Hello. Welcome to Fireside Chat. It's a pleasure having you both here.
You too.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice to be
Don't
here.
grill me any questions. It's my turn to grill you questions. Okay.
It comes so natural, like it may happen.
Okay. Okay. So for the first question, I'm gonna talk about the pandemic and how it has sort of accelerated the progress of disruptive technology. And you may have an opinion that if Malaysia needs to respond by accelerating its innovative capacity to remain competitive, what are your thoughts on the progress of technology in the progress of the technology industry in the country?
Okay. I'll let
now?
maybe Prem go
Okay.
first, and then I'll jump in.
I think the pandemic was very interesting in the sense that it forced us to change our habits. Now we're wearing masks. Now we're used to doing a flow test, right? Now we're used to doing our meetings online. So it really accelerated the ability for people to say, hey, I can do things differently. Right? It's a different mindset. And that is really the core, the foundation of innovation, whether or not I can adapt to change, offer different products, look at things in an innovative way. So in some ways, although the pandemic, was very disruptive, it allows for a more disruptive, the next 10 years. And I think Malaysia is really very well positioned to take advantage of the incoming innovations and produce a much more innovative society.
All right. Okay. I mean, Karanjit, what do you think about this? What's your thoughts on this?
I think the pandemic has created the world's most effective and efficient CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and the world's most efficient CIO, Chief Innovation Officer, right? Because of the pandemic, everything accelerated, right? People who said, wait lah, expensive lah, no budget, suddenly we have to do, otherwise we die, right? Because our competitors are doing it. So it forced everyone to accelerate adoption. Adoption is already happening. For Malaysia, adoption has been happening already. If you look at the global rankings, we're a small country, but we punch above our weight, I believe. We have always been ranked in the 30s, in some rankings in the high 20s also, right? Mid 20s in terms of our rankings of all the countries in the world, right? How we're adopting innovation, technology, how our infrastructure is developing. So this just accelerated it, and everybody is on ball now. Nobody now says, should I do it? They're asking, the question now is, how do I do it in a way that benefits my organizations and in a way that's affordable for us also? So that key question has changed now. Not anymore, why, how. That is incredible. That is priceless, right? Yeah.
Okay, but sort of, I mean, just want to add to the point, like, what sort of the challenges you see in this? Maybe you can...
Oh, challenges are like, so every company everywhere in the world, the challenge is that when you adopt technology, you got to look internally first, say, who can help us, who can take the lead when we're going to do this project or that project, right? So most companies don't have enough technology savvy people within, or digital economy, savvy people within. So, but that's a global problem, not just Malaysia, right? And so that's your first challenge. And then you overcome that by, of course, going out and hiring external people, but not every company can afford that, right? So then the challenge is that because it's a pressing need, you have to accelerate your own learning. You have to learn on your own. How do we understand this so we don't get conned by consultants? That's why it starts with con, right? Or by tech companies, you don't overspend. So that's the challenge. You got to help yourself, right, so that you can help your organization then.
Right.
I believe that it also forces a change in the organizational structure.
Okay.
Now the role of the product design engineer, the digital customer-facing officer. These are new types of positions that arise in a company when you go digital, whether you're using digital for your own internal processes or digital in terms of an outward-facing behavior, right? So the CFOs, the CEOs, CEOs, in somewhat need to accommodate new types of skills. And often the people with such skills are younger, more innovative, more forward-looking. So it's also a bit of a generational challenge, you know, all these young people coming to the director's table, the C-suite table with new ideas.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it makes the older set a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, as we adapt and we disrupt, it's also a certain sense of organizational change that has to happen as well.
Yeah, like embracing new ideas, like it or not,
Definitely,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so Malaysia has its own sandbox. Okay, how do you think this has helped to push innovative Malaysians to sort of pursue innovation in technology? Maybe you want to go first.
Yeah, no. So the sandbox, all the sandbox is a space for experimentation.
Yep.
So you put the various parties together, come together, right? Experiment, and don't be afraid of the existing regulation. Just try. You can. It's a safe space to break things, to experiment, and it's very important. If you want to be an innovative nation, you cannot be afraid. You cannot say, let's play within the rules. If you play within the rules, there's no grab, because there was no, ride-hailing, regulations back then. So all these fellas, they just came out and did it because there's a pain point, right? I think that my solution can address a need in society today, or a need in businesses today. Forget about regulations. Regulations always play catch up all over the world. You're catching up because entrepreneurs are crazy, right? They work 24/7. They don't wait for permission to do something because there's a fire burning in them, right? Him or her, and they want to do something, right? And there's money, so much money in the world wanting to spot crazy people with ideas. So the Malaysian sandbox, innovation sandbox, was an experiment to say, come and forget about the regulation. You come and do what you want to do, and we bring the regulators in also. So it's accelerating the regulators to see, hey, you have to be part of this because the national agenda. Now all of you all work together and see what's working, what's not. So then the regulator go back from the discussion with his colleagues at the Teh Tarik and all, hey man, these guys are doing these things, and I think our policy doesn't allow it all. But because he's been there exposed to it and he's talking to his peers about it, then they start getting aware what needs to be done. And it's a national agenda, it's a top-down push. So it works. So it's a good thing to do, it has to be done. I wish we didn't need it. That means that the country is open to innovation, crazy ideas, but most countries do have one form or another. And for Malaysia, it's a practical way. And you're trying to accelerate innovation. That's why we have Technology Sandbox. By the way, even before we had the National Innovation and Technology Sandbox, Bank Negara already had a sandbox. Bank Negara is actually one of the most foresightful central banks in the world. They're willing to experiment. They're brave enough to experiment. They've had their sandbox for a way longer. And it's again the same thing, like banking and finance is so regulated, right? No choice. So they say, we know that, but despite that, let's have this sandbox and let's play and break things and let us observe, and we also learn and what we need to do to change our regulations. So credit to them. So to answer you in short form, the sandbox is a pilot to accelerate innovation adoption in Malaysia, and to welcome crazy people to say that, hey, we've got this, right? Come and give us your ideas, and we bring other parties to help you, find out whether it's a hopeless thing or, hey, there's something there.
Okay. What about you, Ram? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the innovation sandbox is very interesting. As Karamjit mentioned, it's a way to kind of bring innovation. The question is that we need to do it faster. And again, the regulators also have to take lessons learned from these lessons from the sandbox innovations and implement it in real world. So how do we keep pace with our neighbors? How do we keep pace with the region? I think this is a challenge. Obviously, you have legacy companies which tend to be more protectionists. So how do we actually innovate and go forward? So take, for example, we need a large-scale movement from fossil fuel-based cars to EV cars. That needs a lot of changes.
Yeah.
How do we make that going faster? We need to move into solar. Again, there's a lot of issues related to solar that we need to actually move faster. So we need to see where the industries need to be in 10 to 20 years, and how do we actually address and allow this momentum to take up. And legacy companies need to stop preventing that change and get onto the bandwagon of these changes.
Okay.
And speed is, you see, he kept saying the word fast, right? In the technology world, fast and speed is important because other countries are also moving fast, right? Like if you look at the innovation rankings last time, Saudi Arabia, UAE were nowhere there. Now you see the Gulf countries there also, right? And some of them have overtaken Malaysia. So you got to be fast, because when you're fast, you're first, right? You experiment, you fail, you fell down, and then you learn also. The most important thing is then to learn fast. You can fail fast, you got to learn faster. And from those lessons, then you hopefully create something that's successful. But speed is important. So the sandbox is a way to say, come, we're open for experimentation.
Okay.
Come to Malaysia.
Do you think we're fast enough?
No, of course not. He's an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. For entrepreneurs, governments are never fast enough. That's a golden rule, right? Never fast enough. And you just got to, through your own initiative, through your ecosystem, push government to be faster. So the Malaysian tech ecosystem has been pushing the government to operate faster, right? And the government has been receptive. So that's great.
Okay.
I know we like to whack the government, although right now we don't have a government in these few days, but no, it's a hobby to whack the government. But to be honest, the government has done a decent job. Like they could have done a horrible job. They don't do. They do a decent job.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about. I want to talk about the Malaysia's brain drain crisis. I'm sure you know about this. So Malaysia is one of the countries that's greatly affected by this. But how do you think this impacts the innovation process? Because it clearly has a negative, impact, right? So, what can you say about this?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, I think brain drain is probably one of the biggest problems we have.
Yep.
Talent today go to markets where they find exciting careers.
Yes.
There's a lot of progress, a lot of opportunity. They're not going to stay here in Malaysia. And we have another form of brain drain today where someone can stay in Malaysia but be working for a company in the US or Europe or Australia.
Yeah.
So we see now, a lot of Malaysians I speak to, I'm here, but by companies in Australia.
That's right.
So essentially, the second level of brain drain that is happening, which is very difficult. So what we really need to do is to attract the best companies here in Malaysia, saying, look, come and base yourself in Malaysia, and then we need to bring in talent, from elsewhere. If we don't have Malaysian talent, we have to bring in the best talent. So this is something that needs to happen very, very quickly. If not, we're going to lose our best people. And once they leave, trying to bring them back to Malaysia is really
hard.
Really difficult.
It's really difficult, right?
No, but to add to that, when you say we want to attract the best companies, we were already doing that. That's why Invest KL was created, remember? And they actually exceeded their targets. By 2020, KL wanted to bring in like 74 world-class companies, and they managed that. So the government doesn't get the recognition for having identified that, but they've done a good job. But now you got to do further, because like I said, everybody's running, right? Nobody's walking fast. Nobody even walking fast, they're running. So we got to now do the next level of that. So, and you're right, brain drain has always been there. But it's also, the reality is that this country, just like how our soil is so fertile, right? You just throw a rambutan seed somewhere and a rambutan tree will grow. And I'm using this as an example because the wild rambutan tree is growing behind my house right now. But we've also got amazingly talented people. Why? Because we have grown up in a trilingual country, right? You speak Malay, you speak English, you speak Chinese, or you speak Punjabi, right? And Mandarin or whatever. And when I went to university, to the US, they were surprised that I could speak 4 languages because I grew up in Penang. So besides my Malay, Chinese, and Punjabi, you got Mandarin, Hokkien also, right, Penang?
Wow.
And I didn't know it was a big deal, but it is a big deal. So when you speak multiple languages, you are developing the left side of your brain, and that's EQ. So you got IQ and you EQ. So a lot of Malaysians are talented, and the world knows that Malaysians are very adaptable outside. So that's why our talent keeps going to where the best exciting companies are, the best challenges are, and unfortunately also the highest salary. I was in Penang a few years ago for a university event, right? The top universities had their students there, and the winning teams, one guy from a winning team, I said, after you graduate, where are you going? And he kind of sheepishly said, I'm going to Singapore to work just for the money. The parents said, go work Singapore more. And that was when the exchange rate was 2.5, not 3.3 now, right? I also will go now, man. Please give me a job to go to Singapore, right? So, but all countries are facing that, right? Not just Malaysia. Yeah. We are facing it more because we've got an amazing talent pool. Like, I know people complain our education system is not good. That's why we've got a crazy, international school, right? And private school education system. So many Malaysians are in private schools and in international schools also. So you start, those who can afford it, unfortunately, it's the upper middle class and above, right? But there's still an extra talent pool of 100,000 people. And of course, you got 500,000 students in primary, secondary school. We've got good talent. The way you solve it is our companies, right? We must have very good companies here who are creating exciting challenges, Aerodrone, Kasem, right? And you've got others also, Soft Space and whatnot. They need to be growing and developing and raising funding, and then they want great talent. And then you can maybe attract talent to come back. But the downside is like, right? You stay on your laptop in your living room, you may be sitting in your underwear, favorite underwear, right? And you're working because people want your brain power, right?
Yeah.
And you may be wearing a brown, a wool jacket on top, but you're sitting down in your shorts now, okay? Not underwear. This is a halal show, sorry about that. You better edit this out later, okay? But people want this, right? And you're networking, and we've got very good infrastructure, right? So many people have got broadband at home. I've got 500, max broadband at home thanks to Unify. And of course, you can use TM, or I'm not promoting Unify, but you can use Time and all that, right? 1 gig or so now. Time has got 2 gig. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
But we've got incredible, very good infrastructure, especially in urban, suburban areas, and talent can work anywhere. So that's the downside. But the good side is we can then attract talent also. But unfortunately, we are earning and you're going to pay them in ringgit, so you're going to compensate for that.
That's one of the main factors, right?
It's not one of the main factors. It's always been there, but
earning.
companies have to compensate that in a different way. It's the challenge of the entrepreneur to hire that great talent and give them something different. The good thing is Malaysia is a great place to live in, right?
Yeah.
Besides Penang, the MNCs are increasing their investment in Penang, not because they know the best rojak in Southeast Asia comes from Penang or the bihun or nasi lemak or char kway teow, right? Because there's great talent there and it's a great place to live also. So we have a lot of good things, right? But the challenge is there because everybody is running forward, right? In the Global Innovation Index, we are ranked 36 now. And I bring that up because Zulera from Meranti, the CEO of Meranti, and even the previous MOSTI minister, Dr. Adam, said that, our target is to be in the top 20 of the Global Innovation Index. So it's great to have high targets. We are now 36. So what does it take to move higher up, right? Because other countries also want to be in the top 20. And you see in the top 30, actually, it's all developed economies. We are in the upper income, middle economy. So it seems like when a country has got resources, got a lot of money, right? It can throw more money at sandboxes or at universities or hire more researchers from Malaysia. There are good people there and all that. So it's a tough challenge, but I'm glad Malaysia is unbound. We don't say we want to be in the top 30, right? We say top 20. You must have high targets, then you try to be innovative. You have to do things differently to try to achieve those targets. So.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much for that. While we're still on the topic of brain drain, the STEM-based industry in Malaysia, do you think it's a strong, do you think having a strong STEM-based industry could help in combating the brain drain? How can we promote this?
Yeah, Prem?
Well, science and technology, engineering are very, very important parts. Again, the industry has to be supported. And in these areas, these are high investment areas, and they need to be also, exporting. So not just serving the local market but exporting. So how do you get a certain cluster? We've done, for example, very well in, say, electrical electronics. How does that innovate and go faster? In science and technology, where is our cutting edge? Is it in robotics? Is it in AI? But at the end of the day, it's not just a cluster, it's particular companies that can lead a particular cluster. Okay. And we can't compete in all fields. So, we need to drive that. Obviously, STEM education is at the foundation. How do we perform at schools? How is it brought in? Increasingly, STEM education can be, again, delivered remotely, online. Right?
Okay.
You can do physics tests, engineering tests, online. But the culture of STEM, of looking at science, that interest needs to be there.
Yeah.
If we try to promote things which are more non-science based, it makes it difficult. So at the base of it is the idea of critical thinking, of openness. Is our country ready for that? Can we be an open country with critical thinking? So here the overall national agenda comes into play. If there's too much of things like corruption, there's too much of red tape, bureaucracy, it doesn't promote an overall culture of science and technology innovation. So this is something that we have to address at the very basis of our education system.
Okay. Karamjit, you have anything to say to it? Anyone to add to that?
Yeah, I've become a tech journalist, but like STEM is the foundation, right?
Yeah.
But you see, again, science, technology, engineering, and math. And now in the Western world, from STEM, it has gone to STEAM. They've added the A because arts. You want the EQ and the IQ.
Right.
But for STEM, our STEM, of course, you can see data, right? Our STEM, kids who want to go into STEM, into science classes, right, in school, is decreasing because the honest truth is STEM, those are also the harder classes, right? You want to do the art subjects, you want to do the science subject, but that's the reality of the thing. The important way to push it is parents must realize that the best careers out there in the world, and like I said, sitting from Malaysia, you're working for a company in Switzerland, will come if we equip our kids with a STEM foundation, right? And then the world is literally their oyster. So you must have that. So it has to come from even before the government, like from families, from homes,
From
right?
society,
To
yeah.
realize that, from teachers telling them also. And by the way, in our education system, we're already trying to encourage teachers to teach using STEM, using technology actually. So you could be teaching Ugama, you could be teaching history or cooking. Teachers are supposed to add an element of technology to their lessons. And it's been going on for years already, but the adoption by teachers is slow. But you see the policy, they said, let's do this about 10 years ago. Then you spend 2 years, and I was following this. It's slow, but you spend 2 years trying to get buy-in from Ministry of Education, right? And then when they are bought in, then they say, okay, let's train the teachers. And then after you train the teachers, then tell the teachers, okay, we're going to start this, and you start with standard 1, then next year standard 2, standard 3, from 1, from 5. So it's a gradual process, but we have it there. But hopefully this will start making teachers more science savvy when they teach their subjects, right? Any subject. And then hopefully students get involved. And also now online, right? You can go to codeacademy.org, or you can go to, I think BAC, a university in Malaysia. They offer free classes, right? You got tuition for free. I think it's called, it used to be called SPM Flick, flix.com. And now maybe just type in BAC, right? University, and free tuition education. They got videos of teachers teaching all subjects in Mandarin, in Tamil, in English, in Malay, and you get it for free. Why? Because the founder said that, hey, I want people to have access to tuition for free, accelerate their learning and assimilation of what they're learning in school. So there are a lot of good things going on in Malaysia.
Okay. But, I mean, do you think that with all these platforms and
Yep.
opportunities available, is there still that sort of like, in your view, that's resistance from society in encouraging the younger ones to pursue STEM? Do you see that, or do you think it's it's progressing positively?
Well, I think parents would love their children to
Yeah.
pursue STEM, right? But that that needs to happen at a very young age. So we need to get our maths and science right, from primary school. I think that's a really question: are we getting things right? Because once you feel that you're not doing well in class, you find it you find it very difficult to catch up. So how do we get our kids at primary school level very comfortable with STEM ideas and technology, and create a passion for it? You're playing with Lego sets, or you're playing with robotics.
Right.
Creates a passion for technology, and that's what we really need to instill. And I'm sure parents will come along with that.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's another thing you can do to accelerate that, right? Because you have to start paying your math, your science, right? Your STEM teachers are a higher allowance, not salary, because the other teachers say, hey, why is my history is also important, but pay them a high allowance when they're teaching the STEM subjects. Then you encourage maybe more people who want to become teachers are in the sciences also. Because right now, sometimes like my son is in Form 4 in a national school, like the same teacher is teaching like chemistry and then biology and one more subject, right? And say, hey, you cannot excel if you're doing all three, unless that his teacher happens to be a genius, which I doubt. Okay, there are very few geniuses around. But so government wants to show in the son at the primary level more important than secondary, because that's why we are all and open. We are like a lump of clay, right? You can easily mold us, right? That's the word, mold us. So simple things from a policy we can do, pay allowance to teachers who teach this subject, because you want better quality teaching, right? And then you attract better quality people to go into the sciences subjects. Not, by the way, we don't have enough music teachers also. Maybe do that for music also, right? Again, like that's EQ.
Yep.
We've got enough of IQ. We want to develop EQ.
That's right.
Another thing we need to also remember that people are living longer these days. Our older demographic is extending.
Yeah.
So we need to not only look at education from a primary and secondary school angle, but also adult education. We need to be able to acquire new technology skills and adapt throughout our adult lifetimes. So for example, our schools these days are in a way running out of young people because our birth rates are so low. So how do we reposition our schools to be centers of education for the entire population, not just for children?
Right.
So you can in fact pick up STEM education when you're in your 30s or in your 40s.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be when you're
There's
a
no
kid.
deadline, right?
There's
When
no
you-
deadline.
yeah.
So we need to move away from kind of industrial thinking into a 21st century thinking about education, about STEM, etc.
Okay, that's interesting. So we've been talking about all this innovation in technology. I would like to talk about the Top in Tech Award, which is organized by Malaysiakini and Digital News Asia. Yeah. Can you maybe share with me more about this Top in Tech Award? What is it about, and sort of how has it helped contribute to the development of the innovation and technology industry?
Well, we started a few years ago. I mean, last year was our first big awards Its idea is to celebrate the best in technology, the most innovative young people, in different sectors, the best innovators who are coming out there, really pushing the boundaries in innovation. Malaysians are actually very innovative. We come up with really great ideas. Sometimes those innovations, they don't get enough fuel, enough investments to take it really broad. But we've got great companies out there. So our idea is that how can we help drive that innovation economy and really celebrate our Malaysian achievements. That's the Top in Tech Awards.
All right. So you have a category for the Young Innovator of the Year. So it's curated especially for the Gen Z. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Anyone who doesn't have a white beard, that's the
I
question.
can. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. So how has the reception? I mean, how's
Last
it,
year
the
was good,
response?
but because it's the first year, we're hoping that more teachers become aware of the awards, right? And get their students to submit, right? The more the merrier, and the higher the bar is raised also. So of course we expect more. And but like Prem said, last year is the first year, this is the second year, and we haven't really been big into promoting it and sharing it out there. Only this year now we're starting that push, right, with programs like yours also. Thank you very much, right? But and get more teachers, right? Get your students and parents also. It's for, I think, a certain age. We're looking at secondary school, right? So we want at that young, crazy age, right? And just unleash them. And we're very happy what we saw last year, hoping for more this year. And by the way, the awards, when you organize an innovation award, normally it's all open for technology companies. All. If you look at our award, there are various categories. You've got brick and mortar category, right? Which among the brick and mortar companies, a company who was the best one in adopting innovation. Then you had even public and government and federal and state level agencies, right? Who has been the best in driving digital adoption? Because all of them are supposed to have programs. Right. So our award now tries to recognize who did the best job last year, right, in pushing digital adoption. There are various categories. Then we've got, of course, among the startups also, right? And we got an individual award, which is Innovator of the Year. So who out there is the craziest, guy or girl in the country who's done some amazing innovative stuff? We want to recognize you also, right? And put you on a pedestal because, like Prem said, right, that creates awareness, recognition for you, and hopefully then it brings awareness, attention, and maybe with the attention comes some support, maybe money, or hey, use my lab, or I know somebody here, there, and make the connections for them also. So we want to spark that in Malaysia. So that's why it's not just a focus concentrating on tech companies and even academia. We've got a category for best, most impactful academia industry innovation. Right, collaboration. So public universities, private universities who are doing they're engaging with industry. We want to try to find who had the program that had the most impact this year. So very broad category because innovation is for the whole country, not just for the tech ecosystem.
That's right.
So that's what we are proud of with the award, that it doesn't just focus on tech companies.
Okay. We're going to come to the end of the show really soon. Anything you want to wrap up? Like you want to additional information about Top in Tech Award, maybe if you want to add on.
Well, I would like to encourage everybody to be an innovator. Innovate in yourself, innovate in your lifestyle, innovate in the tools that you use, and also to support innovation.
Yes.
If you find a young person out there trying to do something, trying to do a startup, give them some support. Make them a small investment. See where we can assist. If we all help each other, we have this kita tolong kita. We all have kita jaga kita. Have that spirit. Let's help Malaysian innovators. Anywhere we can. And definitely Top in Tech, we will do our bit to promote Malaysian innovation.
Okay. So, sorry. Yes.
Good.
Submissions are still open until...
Yes, submissions are still open.
Until November 15, is that correct? Yeah? Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And we've got a Malaysia, nationally, we've got a Malaysia Creativity and Innovation Week, right? I think we should have we should do a national holiday for in Malaysian Innovation Day, right? Of course, the public listed companies say, oh my God, another public holiday. Yeah, maybe half day. When Malaysia hits the top 20 of the Global Innovation Index, then full day.
Okay, full day.
Then we at some point do a half day, right? And innovation, right? Because and we cannot be afraid to fail. If you want to be innovative in anything, you cannot be afraid to fail. You have to accept failure, welcome failure. Because like Thomas Edison said, right, he didn't fail 1,000 times in creating the electric. He just learned 1,000 ways in how not to build the electric bulb, right? Fantastic. That's the mindset we should all have.
Okay, all right. So thank you for the very fruitful conversation. Thank you for being so accommodative to our questions. So as I mentioned just now, Top in Tech Award is organized by Malaysiakini and also Digital News Asia, and Sinar Daily is the official media partner. So so that wraps up our fireside chat for today. Keep up with the latest news and follow us on all our social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Do give us a follow, and we'll see you next time.